Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Let's have a look at some of these charts on a nice 10 to 8 in the morning. Right, so I'm going to show you a few things. Just a couple of altcoins, really. And obviously, after yesterday's pump, we're just going to sort of digest what exactly has happened and what it actually means, really, from a technical perspective. So, I suppose to burst a little bit of a bubble and a bit of a reality check, let's start with the S&P. So, the S&P, obviously, unbelievable bounce. I mean, this is just ridiculous. It's just unreal, really, that something like this has even happened in our lifetime. It's just mental. But, you know, for what it's worth, there was not really any bull div on any part of this. This is all to do with a man speaking, doing something. And I was talking on the live streams last night, so we do these live streams twice a week. The whole situation is very much like a poker game, isn't it? And all the world leaders are at the table, and basically everybody's folded. Apart from China and America, who have been at the table for a long time, they've got a big mountain of chips, and they're able to bully everybody off the table, basically, which is basically what's happened. Everybody's been bullied off with their little small pots chips, and America's basically like, oh, I'll raise you, and everybody's like, can't touch. Fine, fold, but China's like, I call. Well, I raise again. Well, I call. And that's basically the situation we're in. But as a result of that, you get volatility on the way down and on the way back up again. So nothing's really changed, really. And so we have to respect the fact that this is downtrending still. And the weekly US 500, basically the S&P, is still below all major moving averages, apart from the 200 simple and exponential, where we front run yesterday. And again, until we break down from this area, I think this is what I was saying yesterday, is it a bear market? Is it a bear market? We have seen this sort of thing before. Down to this area, bang. Down to this area, well, I mean, that was a bit of a chaotic down to the area, but bang. Down to the area, bang. And here we are again. But a standard Bollinger Band strategy applies, which is, while below the 20 moving average on any time frame, you have to respect the fact that that's going to be a major resistance, and that currently comes in at 5,850. Now that's your weekly, obviously. Daily, well, the daily, we're below, getting rejected on the 21 today. Same story, really. Different moving average, exponentials and simples. I use the 21 exponential and the 20 simple for the Bollinger Band Center. They serve the same purpose, and we're being rejected from it today. 65% more likely to remain in that portion of the band. But the 4 hourly obviously smashed right through, so if anybody's looking to go long or, I suppose, like bullish on this and looking for a position, you wait for a retest of the centre of that Bollinger Band again. So the 20 moving average currently comes down at 5,126. 21 exponential, a little higher than that, at 5,236. So these are the areas to go log on if, of course, that's what you want to do. Now, as far as the itchy cloud is concerned, nothing going on here. As far as the higher moving average is concerned, they're death crossed, with nothing but resistances to conquer. Those stand at 5,600 and 5,645. That's your S&P. Let's have a think about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, same thing applies. We've smashed right through the 4 hourly. The center of the range now at 78,550. Death cross retest overnight, and again 84,000 for another death cross retest. So there's your 4 hourly for entry points. Daily, what are we up to at the daily? Well, I can tell you, rejection on the centre of a Bollinger Band. 65% more likely to remain in the band that you're in. And that's where we are. So, look, I mean, that's the deal. Daily rejection from the centre of the range, and obviously the weekly, we've still got further to run before we get to that area, which is all the way up here at 93. Now, I think that looking at Bitcoin with this double hidden bull div on the RSI, that there is a good chance, actually, that we do make our way up to that level. And if we break it, even better. So I actually think that there is that chance. But, as of today, it's more likely that we do pull back a little bit after that massive move that we saw across all charts. Now, let's have a think about some altcoins. So, I don't know what I'm going to call this video. I imagine everybody's been extremely sensationalist. This changes everything. Oh! That's the classic YouTube thumbnail there. This changes everything. Oh my God, what changes everything? I must watch. So, I mean, it doesn't change everything. It's still the same. So we're going to think about XRP to begin with. So XRP came down to the first major area on the chart, on the weekly, that you'd be in any way inclined to think about buying. Now, obviously, I'm not buying at these levels. I'm not buying wouldn't even buy this down at $1. Because obviously a down towards $1 would be very close to a full breakdown anyway. My average entry point is probably in the 30s somewhere. So it doesn't appeal to me to buy when you're hundreds of percent up. So it's just an anecdotal thing. I'm not good risk to reward obviously, but I've got more than enough. I don't want to add to such a large position. It's been pretty much my largest altcoin position for a long time now. But we did hit that area. That is the previous high from over here, the previous bull market high, and also the 50 exponential, which is all part of a golden cross retest. Now, it's not broken out, it's not done anything special. Bollinger Band strategy still applies. 21 exponential to $2.12. 20 moving average still uptrending actually at $2.43, and then the horizontal at $2.50, or just a little bit above. Now, if we do extend this rally and break out money flow and momentum from this horrendous pullback, and it's not horrendous at all. I mean, I'm highlighting this as an altcoin that is actually pretty cool in compared to most others, really, which are making new lows. I'm only going to show you a few different coins, really, just a couple of different ones, really, a few. And they might not appeal to you at all. I'm just showing you that altcoins are different. Most of them are exactly the same, but some of them are behaving very differently, and those are the ones I'm just going to show you a few of them. And the ones that I'm in, I'm not going to show you random stuff. I'm going to show you the things that I'm holding or have bought recently. So this is what we're looking at. Bounce from here, resistance up here and here, but a breakout from the money flow and the RSI from this trend line, which is going to happen at some point, obviously, and a breakout from these major resistances, arguably the $2.50, will take you to a new all-time high. That's what it will do, right? The cat will be out the bag. Pandora's box would be opened. I don't know what other analogies you could think of, but basically that is it. The cat's out of the bag and it's running around, and you can't get it back in because it's broken out of resistance and momentum and volume, and it will go to a new all-time high very quickly. We see, and we have seen, and you will see again, the day where XRP rallies over 50%, maybe 60, 70, 80, maybe 100% in a day. 100% from here is $4, that's a new all-time high. That's what you'd be looking at. At the moment we haven't got it, but it's a setup worth looking at and thinking about and perhaps expecting. If, of course, the poker game goes in favour of, our team, if you want to call it that. So, there's your XRP. Next on the list, unpopular, but I like it. Very unpopular, which is why I'm covering a lot of coins in one go, because no one would watch this. So, what are we looking at? Weekly, regular, bullish divergence on the money flow index, confirmed. We haven't made a new low. XRP made a new low. This is a weekly chart. Atom did not make a new low. What does it mean? What does it mean? Well, it might not necessarily mean anything, but it's definitely worth looking at, because you've got a giant bull div, you've got an area of support which is held, you've got a higher low which is already kicked in, you've got a weak-ass downtrend of a chart, there's no mistaking it, and you've got a rejection on a Bollinger Band centre like everybody else has. But we do have higher low, and we do have bullish divergence. Now, all this needs to do is reclaim this little area up here. It's not far away, and again, this is why I think it's interesting to talk about these coins, because at the moment, fear in the market, I understand. 26% is all it needs to do to confirm what I would consider to be a breakout area. A breakout area that could actually take it all the way up towards $11. The $11 is this trend line, a massive trend line of resistance, and I would expect to see that as a rejection area. A little higher than that, perhaps, maybe the death cross retest on a weekly. That's again another area to be considering. But I also think that we're likely to see ourselves rally up into this area up here, into the 20s, if of course the bull market is still in play. This consolidation, a breakout from there would be able to take you up to that big resistance. And over many years, this is my expectation. Bang! What are you talking about? Well, I can say anything I like when I'm looking, 10 years into the future. but this is what I expect to see in 10 years, which is why I'm holding, staking, and hoping that this is going to materialize into what could be considered actual genuine passive income. It's a long shot. I've spoken about it before. It's nothing. It's nothing you've not heard. For some reason, this hasn't registered, but this is bullish divergence also on the monthly as well. So just recognise what we're looking at here. Big consolidation that's been taking place for a couple of years. Remind you of anybody else? XRP perhaps, maybe consolidation over a couple of years. Yeah. This is definitely doing its own thing, and that's why I like it. Buy at the low prices. Get all the staking set up, because 10 years from now, hopefully we'll be sitting up around $50 to $100. And I know I can hear you. My ears are burning. You can 10 years for a 10x. Yeah, 10 years for a 10x. Yeah. What's wrong with that? All right, that's 100% a year on year. Have you got a problem with that? Have you got a problem with that? That's a first world problem if you do have a problem with that. And again, it's an expectation, it's a projection, it's not a guarantee. I'm not getting out of bed for 100% a year. Well, it won't be every year, but you understand what I'm talking about here, right? That is not a problem. Most people think you should be making billions of percent, but tell me how many percents you've made, over the last year. And tell me what plan you've got. Do you have a plan at all? If you have a plan, then great. If you don't have a plan, then don't criticise mine. Right, so I'll just leave that one with you there. It does look like it could, and I mean it could reach up into the 20s before the year's out. Yeah, I know. Shocking, right? Another one that I really like, and that I bought a few days back now, XMR. That's right, Monero. I've spoken about this on a separate video, but I do also like this a lot. So you can see that this one's also different. Consolidation, accumulation, uptrend. So on the weekly, this one is very different, isn't it? On the monthly and on the weekly. I'll show you all of them in a minute. We came down to test the 50 exponential on the monthly. Bounce. We are making a series of higher highs, higher lows. This is an uptrend. It's an uptrend on the monthly. It's an uptrend on all time frames, to be fair. If you go over to the weekly, what do you see? A golden cross retest. A lovely, beautiful kiss on the cheek. Mwah. And then, we got to reclaim the 210 area. But once that's done, it should keep going up. Now, I've made the case for this. This is black market stuff. This is darknet stuff. This is the global currency for all dodgy geezers, basically. And if you want to talk about utility, there's your utility. The darknet is indestructible. Illicit activities, like them or not, use this currency. It's found a home, and the home provides billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of trading, all taking place with pretty much this coin. All right, so there's a utility, and there's the reason why it didn't make a new low. This, in fact, only made a higher low in the form of an uptrend. And I would expect this one, to be honest with you, I'd expect this one to make its way up, up. Probably forever, to be honest with you. Probably forever. So you want to hodl? I like this one as a hodl. Why wouldn't you? Hey? Why would you not? It makes perfect sense to me that this is a great coin to hold for as long as you can be bothered. 5, 10, 20, a million years hodl. I mean, prove me wrong. Give me an argument against it. I know it gets delisted by big major exchanges, but there's a million other exchanges that haven't delisted it. You'll always find liquidity, and you'll always find a place to sell it. Yeah, so there's that one. But from the charts perspective, she wants to move up. Now another one which is a bit of a wild card, really, I'll show you. XVG. It's Ethereum. I know. Now we're really getting down and dirty on this one. On the weekly, we're sitting at the 50 exponential, and we've been sitting here for a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times we've tested it. The money flow index is all the way down here at 17. Now this isn't a setup on its own, but it is sitting and was sitting at a moving average, which I consider to be decent risk to reward. You see this one shoot up massively in the form of alt season territory. Okay, big move up. big move up, big move up. If this one does do a big move up, you should be looking to see at least a doubling whatever Ethereum you put into it. But I'd be looking to maybe make a 3x on this one, around 250% basically into the 800 Ethereum Sats zone. I don't know what you call Ethereums, Vitalik Sats. I don't know what you call them. So that looks reasonable for a bit of a wild card trade, which is why I entered into it. You know, I'm not saying that this is the best thing anyone's ever seen, but we are on the daily currently trying to make our way above all moving averages, and we never got the death cross. So if you were to do this, you could probably, you can imagine it, right? You can see how this one is different to all the others. I'm only showing you ones that are slightly different. I'm not showing you all the altcoins that are all trending as one, because most altcoins just trend as one giant machine, either up or down. The ones I'm pointing out to you are all very different. We've got Monero, which is slow and steady wins the race. We've got XRP, which is massive super support, looking to ricochet and potentially break out enormously. And then you could equate that, you know, to all the other XRP equivalents, XLM, Algorand, XDC, HBAR. They'll all benefit from XRP that is presenting in a way where it could easily make a new all-time high. Now I'm showing you something which is basically a way to double your Ethereum potentially. And look, we just need to get a little higher, and we do need a little more time. We need a little bit more time for this Chiku span to get outside of this giant, massive cloud. It wouldn't take too much longer, but I'd say, a couple of weeks. If all goes well, you'd see this one making its way back up to where it came from, and maybe a little higher than that, into, like I say, around towards the 800s area. It's a wild card, though. Yeah, this is a wild card. I'm just looking at it from a observing this heart murmur of a chart that we have, and it's something that will definitely benefit from an alt season. So there's a few things, and I've said the word, haven't I now? Alt season. So let's have a think about what that actually means. So here's your Bitcoin dominance chart, okay? And we are pushing that major resistance on all time frames. It's the 63.5%, 64% dominance area. So we had a few rejections these last couple of days. Are we going to get a big rejection that takes us down to maybe 58.5 or maybe even lower? So what we see is an overheated money flow index read, 91, on the daily. Okay, we don't like being high here. We don't like being high on any of these time frames. You've got a high read here. You've got bearish divergence led to this move over here. The big one is always going to be the weekly, and the weekly is saying we are overheated over here also. So this is the third highest read we've ever seen on the money flow index on the dominance chart. We're also at a major resistance on the dominance chart. So the trader in me says this is an obvious kind of setup that you shouldn't really ignore, or I'm not willing to ignore, right? So I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen. This is something that most people need to really sort of understand, right? Charts trading is always a roll of the dice, right? It's always a roll of the dice. The odds might be in your favor, but it's still a roll of the dice. Okay? Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. But what you have to think about is there a resistance? Is there a reason why it would be rejected on this resistance? Is there bearish divergence, or is there overheated reads? What happens at areas on charts previously that might happen around here? Well, I'll tell you, this is what could happen. Third highest it's ever been. When we do get these overheated reads, we get pullbacks. One. Where were the last big alt seasons? Overheated read, massive rejection at a resistance. What happened prior to that? Overheated read over here, big rejection. That's an alt season, long lasting. What happened over here? Overheated read, sharp rejection. Even this one over here, overheated read, massive rejection. So we've got an overheated read, the third highest it's ever been in its entire life, and we're at a resistance. If we're going to get a rejection, it would happen from here. Okay? It would happen. That would benefit all altcoins, which is why I put those positions in a couple of days ago. Look, I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen. I know that this is a risky scenario across the board. I know that there's lots of other things going on behind these charts which will influence the price. But if all we've got really is the chart itself, and the chart was trading in a vacuum away from people speaking about stuff, then you'd be like, all right, this is not an opportunity to ignore. You know, because fast forward a month or 2 months from now and we see a rejection from here, and you've seen altcoins rally 100, 200, 300%, then you'd look back and go, oh, it was so obvious. If it breaks out from here and I'm wrong, then you go, well, you know, I was just playing the cards I was dealt. Another poker analogy there. So look, I'm just making a case for what it is that I'm seeing. So you've got 2 weekly bullish divergence reads on Bitcoin. You've got overheated money flow index on the dominance chart with a resistance there. You've got 2 hidden bullish divergence reads on the total market cap also, but we are below all these moving averages, I have to say. And we've got the overall projection of higher highs, higher lows still intact, with a view that we are going to hit a new all-time high some point around the end of this year, September-ish area, I think. That's what I'm looking for. And that's what I'm still aiming for. But got to think about resistance, especially on the S&P, which is obviously way below. So when we do approach that resistance, maybe that's it. Maybe we pop there, because there is a downtrend until you've broken those areas. But we do have things to think about when it comes to taking advantage of, again, the cards that were dealt. The last thing I'm going to show you, just as a little sweetener, is the crypto.com, the crow, and we're going to take it to a daily, make it a bit more palatable. Right, so we've got this this uptrend, this diagonal uptrend. Big support, big rally. Continuation of the rally. Big support, big rally. Down to support, and here is where the support lives, and we're getting responses from it. This has been going on for a little while now, hasn't it, really? All the way since September 2023. So it's been a couple of years in the making. We're back down to that support. Crow likes to run, all right? When Crow runs, it likes to run. This is a series of higher highs and higher lows, like you would expect in a bull market. That's right, a bull market. So, you know, obviously I'm not buying loads of Crow. I already have loads. But, you know, if you were to think about buying a coin, which is higher high, higher low structure, this is just another one of those. It's not one of those stinking crap coins that look like a turd that are doing the opposite of this. I'm not suggesting that this is the best thing anyone's ever seen. I'm just talking about charts which look different. You load up your average altcoin, have a look at what it looks like. I mean, it stinks. Look at these ones that I've shown you. They're definitely different to the others, right? They're not moving down and making fresh lows like most coins are. The ones I've shown you today are different, and that's why I've presented them to you. I've given you the idea that perhaps maybe there could be an alt season from these areas. And like I always say, buy into strength. If you're going to buy anything at all, you buy into strength, not weakness. If there's an alt season, yeah, most things will just move up through association. Some altcoins will rally hundreds of billions of %, but that's not because they're amazing. It's because they've got problems on the order books. You know, no one's trading them right now. And if you do buy them, you're at the top of the Ponzi scheme. That's different. If you're looking at it from a trader's perspective, higher highs, higher lows, you know, and go with that. And that's basically what I've shown you today. Right, I'll leave with you there. Hopefully that is in some way useful. Please like and share the video. Because at least today's video, I think I've tried to put a little more thought into it and present you with a handful of things that might be in some way interesting, if not opportunistic. But again, I'm not telling you what to buy or anything. I'm telling you what I own and why I own them. It's not that I'm saying, buy this, do that. You are in charge of what you do. And recognise the fact that the S&P and all markets are still in a pretty scary position, higher term. And we have not created an uptrend, and we are actually still in a downtrend. So recognise all of that. But there is a chance that an alt season could already have begun, and these altcoins are at relatively decent positions for entry points, of course, if that's something that you want to do. Right, I'll leave it with you there. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.